Every year at Convocation, UBC has the honor of bestowing honorary degrees upon exceptional individuals who, in the opinion of the university community, have fit the criteria of excellence and eminence in their chosen field. Erik Lindholm is one of those individuals, and I invite him to step forward to receive his honorary degree. Erik. Madam Chancellor, Erik Lindholm is a visionary engineer and inventor whose innovations have reshaped the landscape of technology. His remarkable career began with undergraduate and graduate studies in electrical engineering here at UBC. He took his first career steps in Japan, working on car navigation display software and 3D graphics pipeline software. He then moved to Silicon Valley, where he made contributions to iconic projects at Silicon Graphics that shaped high-performance visual computing in the 90s. In 1997, he joined a little company you might have heard about called NVIDIA as a 3D graphics architect. Among numerous projects, he was a key architect on NVIDIA's very first graphics processing unit, which led directly to his work on programmable shaders and then GPUs for general computing beyond graphics. Significantly, the ability to program GPUs unlocked their potential for widespread adoptions in fields requiring complex computational analysis, such as climate modeling, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. In 2013, he moved to the NVIDIA Research Group, where he continued work on multi-threaded processors, assisted on the RTX ray tracing effort, and devoted much time to the design and acceleration of GPU queuing for work creation, consumption, and scheduling. With 128 US patents to his credits, his work continues to shape the future of real-time graphics and pushing the boundaries of all that is possible in high-performance computing. We're particularly pleased to note his very active role in supporting electrical engineering students here at UBC. In 2016, he received the inaugural Dean's Medal of Distinction in honor of his dedication to advancing knowledge, fostering collaboration, and inspiring future leaders. Finally, it must be noted that he still participates in the time-honored traditions of UBC engineers, including going for pit burgers and beer, or playing foosball against any challengers. And indeed, what greater measure of authenticity could there possibly be? Madam Chancellor, it is with great pride, pleasure, and gratitude that I ask you to confer the degree Doctor of Science honoris causa upon our very own John Erik Lindholm.
By the authority of the Senate of this university, I confer upon you, John Erik Lindholm, the title and degree Doctor of Science honoris causa. Congratulations.
gives me great pleasure to ask Dr. Lindholm to say a few words. Erik.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is very, very emotional. Just give me a second. My father, as a very young child, this is back in Sweden, wanted nothing more when he was young to drive his uncle's tractor. Unfortunately, he academically did very well, and he was sent to boarding school and became a dentist. He is quite an incredible person in many ways. He was very dexterous as a dentist, and he had lots of hobbies, which influenced me greatly as I was growing up. Also, he was a founder and first president of the Swedish Hot Rod Association. So I grew up along hot rods when I was a child. He moved the family to Canada, me included, of course, and we settled into Cornell, British Columbia, up towards Prince George, if you don't know where that is. As it turned out, we moved a lot as a child, and by the time I finished primary school, I had been to 4 different school systems. And that did quite a number on my personality. I became rather withdrawn. I lost a lot of friends over the years. But I found some excellent new friends in Cornell, and I want to just say hi to Lawrence, Connie, Charlene, Carol, Jim, Mark, Lavon. And they're very important friends, and I honestly want to tell you that keep your friends close and don't forget them as you advance into your career. After high school, university beckoned. UBC was the natural choice. I had good grades. There was no problem getting in. And I was thinking of doing first-year science, actually. And I did first-year science because I had no choice back in those days. But a high school teacher recommended me for engineering and thought about my father and his hobbies, and it was the obvious thing to enter. So I went into electrical engineering, graduated in 1983. And went to Totem Park first year, learned to play foosball, 6-shoe, if anybody of you know where that is. And I spent a lot of time playing foosball, it turned out, in my bachelor's days, more than I should have, I have to admit. But I did graduate fine. Economy was bad, went back to grad school, surprisingly, did fine there, graduated, had to decide, just where you are right now, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And I'd never really thought about it. I was so busy trying to pass my exams and graduate that the thought of actually doing something beyond that didn't really register in my mind. As a result of my travels as a child, I moved to Japan, actually, because I didn't mind going to a new strange place, didn't know anybody. But because of that choice, I got some excellent career advancement doing software in Japan against all odds. And that opened the door after a few years to me going to Silicon Valley. And my dream company, with massive 2.5 years of experience, was Silicon Graphics, which dates back to the 1990s, and they made very high-performance computer graphics work pipelines that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can't afford this as a person. And in that company, I learned the ropes, the serious architectural chops that I would need later. That was my training to become a master of my profession. And the company had excellent people, excellent technology, mediocre management, which caused its demise finally, unfortunately. But I will always remember those days with cherish. It was a great time to work, and we worked really hard. After that, in '97, it was time to move on, and a few of my friends went to a little company called NVIDIA. It was still private, about 65 employees when I joined, in fact. Now it's over, I think, 35,000 people working for the company. And moving to that company was a bit of a shock, because I went from a large, well-supported group into a small 5-person architecture group responsible for the whole chip design. And I all of a sudden have serious responsibility. And I was kind of ready, but not really ready. It was a frightening time, because I was told that this was my unit to build, and I was the one person who had to design the whole unit. There was no safety net. I was supposed to be the expert, get your job done. And it was fascinating. It was scary, incredibly frightening, because if it didn't work, it was my fault. There was nobody else who could be blamed but me. And you have no idea what it's like to run a unit by yourself, and it tapes out, and you're just twiddling your thumbs waiting for it to come back from the fab. It shows up in the lab, and every day you walk down and you ask, have you tried my unit yet? And they say, nope, haven't tried it yet. This happened for days and days, and all of a sudden one day, yeah, we turned it on, it passed. And it defines your life when that happens. You've done something by yourself, an important project, and you have succeeded. Didn't know if you could do it, but it gives you a real twist of your personality. You've gone from a somewhat uncertain engineer to a person who has actually done something important that worked. And when you get to that point, you aren't scared anymore. I was scared back in those days. I didn't know how to solve problems well. I could do homework, I could write exams, answer questions, but actually breaking down a difficult problem into bits and pieces, solving them by sheer stubbornness and creativity, and building up a complete design out of it. I can only hope that each of you get a chance in your future careers to have a challenge that scares the bejesus out of you, but it makes you rise to the occasion. It will change your life forever because you will no longer be afraid. I did a few more projects in general purpose computing for graphics, and then what we call the NV50, which was a critical chip that finally opened up the floodgates to general purpose parallel computing for the casual user. No more supercomputers, no more $100,000 systems. You can now go down to your electronics store, pick up a card for a couple of $100 and start doing your own parallel processing. I'm sure many of you have done AI software as part of your coursework, and some of you, hopefully, many of you perhaps, will be using it extensively in your future careers. That was the beginning of that revolution. And the chips that I worked on were used in the ImageNet 2012 competition. And nobody expected it. Jensen Wong, our president and founder, he gambled that by making something general purpose, useful, that something would happen, something good would happen. It took 6 years. It did happen, and the world hasn't been the same since. He is a real visionary. He took a huge gamble with the company, his company, to back that project, and he was right. And as most of you know by now, NVIDIA is now no longer a small private company. The company is huge. It's succeeded beyond anybody's wildest dreams. And it's been a fascinating journey being part of that. My work has always been done by myself, mostly. I have done teamwork, certainly for the MV50. There was a team involved, but I am more of an individual contributor. I am not your manager, director, VP kind of a guy. My background doesn't suit me well for that kind of work, I think. But it's been absolutely fascinating for me lately to be given this honor. You can't imagine what it's like to mind kind of your own business for decades doing cool stuff, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you get an email saying, personal and confidential from UBC. No idea what it was, opened it up, and bingo. I am to be honored for outstanding contributions to society. This is about the most remote thing possible in my mind in my whole career, because I've been mostly a loner. And this is totally backwards in my worldview. This is not how I perceive myself. I do things my way, and the idea of being here today is absolutely shocking to me, I have to admit. And the people responsible for this were former Dean Mark Parlange, who nominated me for the Dean's Medal of Distinction some years ago, and Dr. James Olson, he's somewhere around here, who sponsored me, and this is why I am here. He is the man behind all this. And I am incredibly, incredibly grateful to both of them for making this happen. It means an amazing amount to me. For the graduating class, I don't know what it's like to face an AI future. I'm sorry, I wish I could help you. But I do know that if you boldly go forth, and your coursework will be mostly useless, you will find out. But what's important is that you can solve problems. This is what your future work will be about. You'll be given problems. You need to tackle them fearlessly, incredibly stubbornly, because some of them are really, really hard. And it's okay to ask for help. Don't fail twice. Nobody likes that. They'll give you one chance, though, usually. So walk out here today with your heads held high. Congratulations for your achievement in graduating. I remember how much work it was. It was no fun at all. And I really hope that someday some of you will be up here having made a difference to the world, and that you're proud of your accomplishments, and your family and friends as well. Thank you very much.